Okay, I've got time to call the meeting to order. What do you have for us to work on? What was that number? 2,000?
2241. That's $2,722.41.
Okay. The claims for this evening for the town is $2,724.41, and the claims for the water department, $10,216.69. Under old business, I've got just some questions, and maybe you can help through this. The lighting that's going in at the park, and where where the youth association stands on all that. I know the poles are up.
So the poles are up. We've picked the lights to go on it. It's going to be the nicest lights at any ballpark you're going to see in the county. They're LEDs. So
Good.
Then they're coming from what's that? It's right north of Southmont High School on that little cut through road. I can't remember what the company's called, but they're the ones getting them for us. But it probably
Kirby Risk?
Kirby Risk, yes, is where they're coming through. Probably be a spring installation though at this point. So, but we're still deciding on who's installing them for sure. So,
Did you by chance have a quote on those?
On the lights, I will have a final one for you next time we meet. I don't remember off the top of my head what the number was. It was within our money, like we'll be fine money-wise on it, but and probably have enough money to be able to pay an electrician to install them also.
Yeah.
So, and maybe even have some money left to do some other things is what we're hoping. But yeah, it'd be a springtime thing on this.
So that includes taking the money out that we paid for the rest of the poles and stuff?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
So, we're still within our monetary part, and then we also have some money as far as part of our group as well. So it's going to happen. It's just when, not if.
So you look for it to be able to be used next year?
That's the goal. Yeah, hopefully start of the season is what the goal is. So, but we don't host any tournaments next year, so it would just be regular season games. But yeah, the goal is to have it start of the season. So.
Okay.
And all the polls are in, and we've been with Kirby Risk, and so it's a matter of the products coming back in. And we haven't decided. We did have somebody lined up to install them, but I'm not certain they're going to be able to do it. So we may have to have somebody else do it. So as far as electricians putting them in, so that's kind of changed. But yeah, the lights. We had two different ones we looked at, and it was just really obvious that one set was nicer than the others. So. And we had the money to be able to do it. So.
That's good.
So yeah, probably spring, March, April would be my guess.
Okay. Any update on the easement for?
So I gave my staff a task to get them an appointment. I don't have an appointment yet, so I'm not sure. I'll ask for an update on that.
Okay.
I do have an update on our small claims cases set for November 19th, the most recent one. I think.
The water.
Yes.
Yes, I talked to Ashley the other day about that because she contacted me, but I've not heard anything back from her or anything.
It's November 19th, our hearing at 1:30.
I told her I had to have it in my hand by the 18th.
Yeah.
To give us time to contact you and get it canceled.
Yep. So, 19th's court. So, we had court for the Kings. They showed up. I spoke with them. It was very productive. I did get a phone number from them. I've passed it along to Brady because they wanted to know more about what else we wanted done there. Yeah. And I told them that I hadn't been there, so that I would have Brady reach out to them. Yeah. So then I text that to Brady, and Brady has it.
I talked to Brady this evening.
All right.
And I said, Brady, I went by there a few days ago, and the front door's standing wide open. It's still a hazard. It's a wreck. Property values to the neighbors has got to be affected by it. I said, Brady, you need to tell them either tear it down or remodel it, fix it up. They said that's, to me, the only way that you can make it right.
I just told them that they had to, whatever Brady said needed to be done. So, and that he was going to reach out to him. I talked to the son because it's a mother's son that were on the property card to it.
Right.
So, and the son was the one that showed up for court. But yeah, it is set January 14th is when they have court again. If they don't have something taken care of with Brady by then, I'm just going to ask the judge to give us the maximum fine, if that's okay with you guys. Okay. Usually he'll do 1,000. I always ask for 2,500. So I can't promise you he'll do 2,500, but that's what I always ask for. The other, another ordinance violation, Smith is set for November 19th also. And then Lawhorn's set November 20th.
Longhorn, what's that for?
Charles Lawhorn Jr. Ordinance violation. It must be an older one, but
Is that over here on the corner?
I don't know addresses.
Might be.
Oh, that might be
That
that
little-
it was Crowder's. That might be.
It's either one that somebody else is living there and he was selling on contract. Is that?
I think so.
All right. So he's called my office, but I got to call him back. But basically, I mean, he has to be able to get them to comply or get the deed into their name or something, because right now it's on him. And Judge told him that at the hearing. So
appreciate that.
So, so that's kind of update on those. I think that's all I have pending right now with the court. So if there's anything else, I don't have it pending.
Do you have a date for the Seabold case?
No, I'm not certain I've received that, though, because usually when Ashley gets things like that, she immediately files them. So I'm not certain he's given me the Seabold stuff.
Okay. When I talked to Brady this evening, he thought it was set for sometime in March.
Oh, Seabold's a different thing. All right, that's the criminal case. Let me look. I was thinking this guy down here. I can see when Seabold's set.
You're talking about Brown.
Yeah, I'm not in the Seabold case, so it doesn't pop up on my calendar. So,
okay.
But I can tell you here in a second because it's public record. So. I know they had a hearing a while back because he was trying to suppress whatever he said to Brady.
It was like September 24th or something.
Yeah, but I didn't go to it. I was doing something. I just spell Seabold. Is it with a Y?
SEYBOLD.
All right, there it is. So it looks like it's set next for November 21st, and that's a pretrial conference. And then there's a jury trial April 9th, set for one day. The hearing, court denied both of his motions at the hearing.
The November date pretrial.
Yeah.
What was it?
21st at 1:30.
Okay.
And then the jury trial's April 9th. It's set for a day.
Okay.
So if that actually goes, I'll probably go watch that. And the judge keeps advising him of his right to attorney, but he keeps turning down the right to attorney. But yeah, both of his motions he had filed, the motion to suppress and whatever other motion he had filed, were denied by the judge. So the state won on that.
There's kind of a funny twist, and I don't know that you want to even talk about it tonight, but the rental house where all of this issue occurred at, it appears somebody now is living there.
Yeah.
But there is no water, or we don't have a water meter installed in that house.
So they're not drawing water off our system.
They're not pulling any water off our system.
I would send them out to check and make sure they didn't do something crazy.
Well, they're not allowed to have wells or anything like that in town. So I mean,
Siebold has
He
it.
has as well.
He has a well.
Can he legally hook another house up to it?
no.
I didn't think
That
we
ain't gonna
think-
last long when it freezes either.
Well, I mean, do you think he's done that?
We don't know.
But I was also told that if there's water running in, it's gonna run back out because there's nothing capping it where it comes out from, and there's no water in there.
Well,
But it'd be
we
good-
verified they haven't tampered with the meter pit.
And
There's
it's,
nothing there.
nothing's coming into any of
That's
our
what they
stuff.
said.
No.
Well, it'd be good to know if
And there's
he's.
3 kids that live there, I've been told.
Huh. I don't know how. I mean, do you have somebody who can verify whether or not they're running a line across there or anything like that?
I mean, other than driving by and looking, I haven't seen the
It's
code.
hard
or-
to see, but
Yeah.
no, I don't, I mean, I'm not,
Because that's actually state law that you're not able to do that. It's not even anything for the town. So,
Yeah.
If you kill the rest of the streets, we can see.
You need to go out and do some yard work, Kathy.
but yeah,
Okay.
that's a state law thing. It's not even a town thing. So,
Well, I know as soon as temperatures fall,
that's gonna be history anyway, if that's the case.
but it's a health risk for them. Is
It sure
why-
is.
and that's
Yeah.
why it's state. The state has a law on it.
okay.
And as right as it's been, I wouldn't want to share my well water with somebody else of another household. You never know,
It wouldn't be unlike though.
but, yeah.
Okay. I was just curious about that, and I talked
I
to her.
anticipate that trial going though. Like from what I understand, talking to the prosecutor, it's not been reasonable conversations back and forth. So,
Can't imagine that.
so I think that trial will happen.
Okay. I talked to UMAC, Troy Ellis this evening. Of course, they haven't flushed the hydrants yet. And I told him, I said, I need to know the date. And so he said within the next 2 weeks is what their plan is to get in here and flush hydrants. We'll see how the weather holds out. If it doesn't happen, I don't know, we'll need to talk about if we want to change up our plan on who's going to flush hydrants for the town. Because we have to do it.
I agree, Kevin.
Do I now?
So I agree with you.
Yeah.
Needs to be done. Yes.
So that's something that's still out there. And I'll continue to work with UMAC and see if we can't get them in here sooner than later. Anybody have anything else? Well, old business, I do have one more thing. the concession stand at the park. I have talked to Brian and talked to Brian and talked to Brian, and he keeps telling me he's going to get on it.
He's so far behind.
And I know he's busy. My question is, if he's not going to get on it, I would like to see us do something so it can be billed in this year because of Washington Township money.
Right.
And if we don't use it this year, then I assume it'll start over next year, but
Well, I
we've
mean,
lost
I've
it.
told you before, he's very unorganized. He,
Yeah.
I know where he's gonna be at tomorrow, but he's very unorganized.
I know where he's gonna be at Thursday.
No, yeah, Thursday, I'm sorry. my
Yeah,
fault.
Thursday, I know where he's gonna be at.
He's gonna work with me next Tuesday, we're setting another generator. I mean, he helps me a lot, don't get me wrong. So he's getting ready to go 2 weeks down to Gibson power plant.
Well,
He just can't, he just can't
Say no.
say no, and he likes the money he's getting.
well,
He's totally unorganized, he doesn't.
Yeah.
all I have is a verbal agreement that he was going to do the job between the town and him. I don't know if it's too late to get the Amish in there. I mean, they could be up there and do it in 6 hours, I'm sure. But I don't know if we can get them in there.
Can we get a quote from him? That way we can end up in that way when,
It can
if
be-
you don't
We
hear
had a
something
quote
the
from
next.
Brian, didn't we?
Yes, I have a
Yes.
quote from him
Yeah.
with me. But, yeah,
Just that way we can be set and saying, yeah, we're ready to go and jump on it.
I'm assuming the
together.
Amish is as busy as they have ever been.
I would assume so.
I mean, I see them come through town with their trailers. Yeah, let me make a call and see if they would be interested in meeting and taking a look at that. I'll probably talk to Abram Hirschberger.
I was wondering if you knew one that was
Yeah.
decent.
Yeah.
Because I don't, did that quote include the material, or was that on top, just him putting it on?
No, it was material. It was everything together.
And that was with the change of the, whatever the change of the material was too, or you just changed the color?
Change of color.
We just changed the color.
I thought
There's
you did.
Yeah.
the quote that we agreed to with him. But if he doesn't have time,
Yeah.
that's
yeah.
okay. Just say, I don't have time.
But I gave him strict instructions that he wouldn't get paid for that when he came to my house, I'll tell you right now. So,
So you're standing in the way.
I'm standing in the way. And I said, you know who pays those checks at here
right.
and at my house, so I said, take your pick.
I'll see if I can't get maybe Abram to come in and take a look at it.
That way we can find out if he's interested and what his time frame
Yeah.
would be, and then we can just tell Brian that, you know, if he
Yeah.
can't have it done by so-and-so, and that way we know it's taken care of
I mean,
before.
I'll say something to Brian Thursday, because I'm gonna assume he's gonna be at your house. Cause I'm setting a water softener for him Friday at Rockville, he sewed. Fell through me really, but,
Okay, well,
he's just terrible. I mean, I told him
I
he'd
mean,
be
on
less.
little jobs, he shows up, like when I needed my lock fixed, when I called him, he came and did the toilet.
yeah.
I mean, he's there, but it's just other things
I
that,
told him
yeah.
he'd be the last person on the place there, so I'd call. I'm
So,
dead serious when I tell him that.
but,
That's all I have under old business. Does anyone else have anything for old business?
Did, you had called me to talk to me about it, was gone, I think, about the vandalism up here at the park.
it's my new business.
Yeah, I was gonna do that in new business,
Oh,
but
okay.
I will cover
All right.
that.
No problem.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you want to cover this under, I guess you could, old. I got a hold of Terminex. Well, I did, yeah, I did get a hold of Terminex. That was a fiasco. No, she wouldn't return my money, or she wouldn't prorate it. I said, why? I haven't used it. It just started in August. Well, that's just not how that works. And she said, you're good through next year. And I said, but I'm wanting to cancel it now. And I said, why can't I cancel it and say I don't want it anymore? And if something comes up between now and then, it's my fault. No, that just doesn't work that way. I said, well, can I talk to someone else? And she said, yeah, I'll have my supervisor call you.
Is there a contract with them?
So to speak. But just like they never called me to have them give me a quote on the spraying.
Yeah, we've used them for several years.
1999 is when that goes back to. It says on there.
And it just auto renews.
Yeah. Oh, that's, I don't know if that's, I think that's paperwork I got in the mail. So,
I use them.
yeah, I do too. I have for years. So I'm thinking now we'll just wait till spring and have him come and spray in the spring, have Bugsy come and spray in the spring, and we
Well-
won't pay that then.
Well, our contract with them ends when?
Could be next August.
August, the 1st of.
So we don't want to duplicate payments between that and the,
Well, we won't be paying anymore on this. This is done.
I know, but we've already paid for it.
Right, but I said next spring, when it rolls around, we will have Bugsy start spraying.
But it will be paying, we have a contract for Terminex and that we've already paid to cover us till August. I don't think it's right for us to hire somebody else to do the spraying when Terminex is already obligated to us.
Okay,
Have
we'll do it in
Bugsy
the
start
fall.
in September.
And so, yeah, we do the fall, but they don't do the same
You
thing.
need to give them notice of termination, though, so they don't auto-renew you again.
So,
Give
yeah.
them something in writing that you can prove they got.
Okay, yeah, all they're doing is Terminex. They're not doing spraying or anything.
Yeah.
Is what I was gonna have him do. So, yeah, we're not gonna pay
I
anything
understand
till
if you
fall.
want to cancel it, you can't get a refund though. It's not a true contract.
Well, that's why there's no language on there that tells me anything whatsoever.
No.
Really. So, but there's got to be an original contract that was signed somewhere.
Larry probably signed one back in 1999.
When they have to produce it though, if we want to cancel, I mean, shouldn't they be able to produce
You can
it?
ask them for your contract, yeah.
So,
And then that
But
way
it's
we
going to
can
have
say-
auto renewal language that says if you don't terminate within so many days, it auto renews for the full
Right.
term, is what it's going to say.
And they have our money.
That's why I say give them something in writing that says.
which I mean, we're not adding more money next year
Right.
until we pay him, which we can pay him in
Right.
the fall.
But you still have to notify them not
Right.
to auto renew,
Right, right.
or they'll auto renew you again.
So, and it says, well, and I think somewhere it was if you don't pay it, then it'll be canceled.
Yeah.
Maybe another piece of paper that I had, but yeah.
Okay.
So,
That's the new gig in contracts is they put that auto renewal language that puts a affirmative duty for you to terminate it in there.
and like I said, I tried to contact him and give me a quote on what he did because he really is just going to look for the Terminex, and they didn't call me back or anything.
They don't want your business.
So,
Right.
I'm like, okay, I could care less.
So we'll just ride that horse to the end.
So-
And if, I would let them know sooner than later that,
I'll send him a letter after the first of the year,
Yeah.
probably. I'll leave it on my
okay.
desk. So,
I don't know, do you want a certified letter to them?
That'd be good. Or and if you have, there's a way in, I don't know if you've been emailing them or how you've been.
I've been talking to somebody.
I'd give them a certified letter then to whatever that address is on there.
The remittance address is the PO
Yeah.
box. So,
That way you can prove it was sent.
To your question, Dale, back when I was gone, we had vandalism at the park. And from everything I have been able to ascertain, they had 4 kids that were up there, witnessed by the neighbor across from the entrance to the shelter house with a baseball bat, and they were using it on the playground equipment. When you walk up the steps for the piece of apparatus that has 2 slides and all of that, they busted both sides of the guards when you're on that platform, just beat them to pieces. And then the little spinner daisy wheel thing that you can tell they just beat it, because I found pieces all over the ground for that. Long story short, we never had any pictures, no way of identifying exactly who it was, but we traced it back to 4 individuals we think was part of it. So, talked to Brady a little bit about it. I ended up going to the parents' home of the one boy that I was told had the bat, and where it all started. And just told him, I said, hey, I'm just telling you right now, if we can prove your son did it, then I will ask our officer to get this into the juvenile system. I said, that's where you stand. I said, you need to make sure that your son is not taking a bat up there any longer. Well, I have not seen any of those 4 kids on park property since then. One of the kids wasn't even in town. It was somebody way south of town. It was coming in like a 16-year-old. But the others were real young kids, probably 12, 13s. So right now, we're looking pretty good. I have just got this invoice that came from when we replaced the slides. So I'm going to get a hold of them again and find out what the cost is going to be for those pieces. And I was concerned about the safety, so I took the orange safety netting that you would put around a hole that you dug, and I had zip tied it to the side so kids won't fall through. And it's still up there, so they haven't torn that up. So I'll come back to you at some point with a cost for this.
So this was when?
Oh, the day it blew the wind so hard.
I still have it on the emails.
Did you guys just
September.
put that equipment in?
We fixed the
Some of them
slides.
did.
Just,
Yes.
And I have since think that the instigator boy may not live with his dad anymore
The one on the south end of town. Okay.
because he made comment to me and talked to me the other day. There's only one person that lives in this household now.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, later I wonder if.
Well, I couldn't get him to agree to get his son's baseball bat and let me look at it because I'm sure it's the bat that they beat the door at the concession stand with and would have that gray paint on it, but I wasn't going to get it. So anyway, they haven't been up there. I've not even seen them running around.
I haven't seen him around since
That's why
that day
I
I
haven't seen
saw him because I did talk to some of the boys.
Yeah.
After that took place, I saw them at the church, and they had a baseball bat, and they were hitting rocks with it towards the church, and I was waiting to hear a window crash. And then they were sitting out in the road as cars were going by, and the cars were honking and trying to get them out of the road. So I made a trip over. By that time, they got to the park, and so I talked to them over the park, not trying to insinuate anything, but that didn't go very far because it was after that then that Kevin had been up there and found out that they had done more damage.
Yeah. So anyway, that's where we're at on it. We'll get some quotes and then, I'd like to get it.
October
Yes.
7th is when I was emailing back and forth.
So I'm just bringing you up to speed on that. I don't think there was anything else damaged other than that big plastic play set.
Play set.
Yeah.
And at the time when I was up there with those kids, there were some people using the playground, so
Yeah.
they're there.
Yeah, there's usually kids when I've walked, if there's kids.
The last thing I have that I can think of is there is a public hearing this Thursday at the 4-H building. And it is for, IDM is the one that set this meeting up. And it's a public hearing on the establishment of the regional sewer district. And they're going to hear input. And I know there's letters that went out.
Did you find out why Bloomingdale's didn't?
I haven't been able to verify that it didn't, but they were
They're saying
surprised.
they don't have them.
They were surprised that it hadn't. I had a meeting this morning with the group, and so
And
we
it's
don't
not been
know.
published in the paper under
They says in the
Bloomingdale.
paper.
Huh?
Was it not in the paper?
Bloomingdale wasn't. Marshall was twice.
Well, the-
Twice in the same paper.
Same paper, Marshall and I twice.
Yeah,
I think.
But Bloomingdale residents have contacted me wanting to know why they're getting letters from Marshall and not from Bloomingdale.
Okay, are they getting letters from Marshall?
That's what they're saying.
That's fine,
And then I had
because
one-
we are the town that has signed for this to be established. So everything comes back on Marshall right now. I signed the paper because Rockville was going to do it early on, and they couldn't. They weren't allowed to. So I did it for the town of Marshall, which covers the whole district. So that's, if they are getting letters,
So maybe
that is
that's
correct.
why then it
Yeah.
doesn't, and that's what's got them confused because they thought
Yeah.
it should be coming from Bloomingdale stating
No.
Bloomingdale's going to be
It's
doing
actually
that.
coming from IDEM. It's not coming
Right.
from us. And
But it says the town of Marshall, so.
right now, there's no entity other than Marshall that's got their name on the paperwork. So that's the reason for that. So that makes me feel pretty good if they've got the letters.
So,
There's a 5 o'clock meeting on Thursday, and it's set up for town officials, town board members, and to hear from IDEM before the public comes in. So at 6 o'clock then, is the public hearing. We don't know if it'll be the size of the last one, or we have no clue. But Rockville has volunteered to get some of their workforce to come out and set up the tables and chairs for that evening.
What was the size of the last one?
Oh, I think there was probably a couple hundred
I'm
there.
gonna say a couple hundred people probably.
They kept adding chairs,
Yeah.
pulling
So,
out tables.
yeah. I mean, that building was pretty full.
Half of the south or north end of it was
So
full.
we don't do anything. IDAM, this is their meeting, their public hearing. We'll just wait and see. So that's at 6 o'clock Thursday.
John, I got a piece of paper you want to write on.
Yeah, please.
He's right on his hand. I didn't realize what he was doing.
I don't know where you may have heard how long this is going to take yet. I know there was a 6-month window from the time we did that, and that's probably been 2 or 3 months ago.
Haven't really been playing an active role in the process.
Right, there's just nothing
I'm
going on.
drafting some things for Rockville as far as they have to go funding wise, but other than that,
Okay.
Cindy's been handling everything. So, yeah, I'm not really.
I just look for, they won't make a determination until after the first of the year.
When she needs things from me, she just reaches out, and so
Okay.
she needed something from Rockville, so I'm drafting something for Rockville, but she hasn't asked anything
I mean,
else.
I'd like to see a lot of public people show up though and ask IDEA a lot of questions. What I'd like to see happen.
Well, everyone is supposedly getting a letter, or has gotten a letter.
I got a letter.
I got another.
So,
Yeah.
I forgot about it till I read it in the paper then.
so anyway, by receiving the letter, you've been invited, so that you can't say I didn't know. But yeah, I like
Well,
the
see,
input.
just like trying to form this regional sewage deal, there's people under misconception here in town. They think just because they got a 1,000-gallon septic tank, they're exempt. They're not exempt because they're still tied to a tile, goes out in that field and dumps it.
Right.
And 2 of them live down there just north of me. Claim they're not gonna get on the city sewer because they got a 1,000-gallon tank. Well, I got a tank too, but I don't have a field. You know, I wish I would tell them that, say that doesn't qualify.
Right.
They really ought to come ask questions. Perrysville dealt with this, when they were doing things and people didn't ask questions, and so then everything was a drawn-out fight.
They kind of like to ignore it somewhat, and people do.
Stick your head in the sand, pretend it doesn't exist. Right, yeah, until it does.
The problem is there's a lot of misinformation that gets spread about, everything,
Show up and get the right information.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, right?
I mean, don't take my word for it. I mean, even though I can look it up black and white right through the state of Indiana,
Right.
I can point out to them, they still wouldn't believe it,
So they've had an option when we held the public hearing, and now they've got another option to have that district explained, and IDM, who is the rule makers, they'll be able to explain those things.
Yeah. I mean,
They're wanting dollar signs is what they're wanting, and you don't have them right now. They don't understand that.
well, that's the other side, yeah. Like I
And I understand that. Some of them don't have the money. And based off of what she said on the grants that's available, it's going to be individuals have to apply for it. It's not going to be one lump sum, so that scares them, that they're going to have to apply for a grant. So,
But there's
Yeah.
gonna come a time though, we ended up in these, because that was the other thing I was wondering too. Do we even have, because we know these tiles are basically our drainage.
For sure.
Well, it's our sewer, but it should be our drainage. But do we have a map or anything to know that? So that way when one fails, we know if the septic's hooked or something, so we can start pinpointing it down so we can.
The only knowledge of that is what has been passed down from one board to the next board to the next board. Gary
There's
Hoover, Harold, Raymond Fox, all those people had them. And they've passed a lot of that information down. You know some of it. Larry Harmon knows probably the most. John Rice.
There's nothing that has been drawn up or anything to give a clue.
The only mapping we have is what was done on the initial sewer system. And it doesn't lay out those tiles.
Okay. I was just wondering if we ended up, because as a town, are we responsible for all this, for our wastewater drainage? when they fail, I know we've been fixing it, but I'm just kind of curious.
I'm not sure about responsible in what way.
Some towns have drainage boards or whatever.
Some of them do, yeah. We don't. I mean,
You have drainage boards in some towns. where
but
they-
there's gonna come a time where the state's gonna be very concerned about wastewater and where it's going. And
Well, I think they're very
that
concerned right now.
Time's coming sooner rather
I
than
mean,
later.
it's kind of like that Fram oil filter, you know, it's pay me now or pay me later.
Yeah.
That's why I was just curious if we had anything to be prepared, because when this goes in, I mean, you're gonna have people that's gonna try to,
Well, there's mechanisms to force people to tap onto the system. The state can do that. There's things that can, I mean, it's coming sooner rather than later is what people need to understand.
Well, it's coming in two ways. One is the government's going to
Right.
say you've got to do this. You don't
State, not local, state.
Right.
Right.
but is,
You don't want another lead situation like they had in Michigan.
Right.
But on the other side of that is those clay tiles
they're
are
gradual.
field tiles, and when you have mass collapsing, which you know what kind of expense, we can't afford to fix it. So now you either unincorporate and say, there you go, homeowners, fix it yourself, or we stay on track to try to do something with it.
Well, I was also kind of curious too, so when people go building, are they building over that main drainage that's
No.
going from house to house?
Not that the ones we know of. We have building permits.
But are you
is-
checking those? Because
Well,
if you
you
end up
ca-
in like the house that built back there by us, if you look at it on a map, you can see, because it looks like, because I was wondering when Todd was doing the
He
drainage.
stayed away from that because he had Todd come over, which Todd mapped it out and gave him a
Okay,
map.
because I
but
was just,
he
that was
lost
where my
it.
concern is
No.
when I got to, because I happened to look at a map and I was looking at something because we were questioning something on something else, and I was like, well, that
But
looks like
see,
a drainage.
Todd didn't know where it went till he started digging it up and started following
That's what
it.
I thought, started following, because I just want to make sure, are we going to be responsible if something happens, being
Well,
that they,
most of those were field tiles. They
It's
were
not
field
a
tiles put in
system.
before even someone built on those properties.
right,
When I came on the board many years ago, I was told by Larry Hoover, there's only like 3 tiles in town that we say definitively, that's ours.
okay,
Everything else, which is, there's everywhere, that one you're talking about has nothing to do, because that was a field up until the early 70s when they first built up there.
right.
So we would have had nothing to do with that tile, and it's an old field tile. The only thing I do when I meet with them on that building permit is I tell them what I know,
And then go.
and we go from there.
Okay, I was just wanting to just get a clear understanding of where the wastewater and what kind of lies, what we know is we were responsible for and not.
Well, I
Because
don't-
you don't know what people's done, I mean, you don't.
The only
And
way
they're
that-
old and some has collapsed and somebody's tried to repair and,
The only way we're responsible for it is because we took ownership South Main Street when we put that section
Right.
in, because it was flowing in somebody's basement. We took ownership of that. Behind the restaurant, down that alley, same thing. You know, we had a business that couldn't operate any longer, and it was in the interest of the business owner in the town to work with that. So that's the things we've done. The one that goes down in front of Dale's house, I don't know who put it in, where it came from. I
Been
know
there a
where
long
it-
time.
I know where it comes from, but it's just an old clay tile that
well,
ends
see,
up
I know
in.
that's like a Bloomingdale, but we knew kind of where they were. That was, they put them like in by the alleyways and stuff, the main kind of drains, because they'd be running back there and then across. So, I was
So
just
we
curious.
kind of know a few, but we don't know very
No,
much.
Okay.
Yeah.
My answer would be there's a lot of gray there.
Yeah,
So
There
as far
is.
as a definitive answer,
there's nothing.
there's not a definitive answer.
Well, the other thing about that, Darrell, is if we do get a sewer system, that's gonna alleviate all those problems anyhow, a lot of it.
Oh, yeah, it should.
You know, it should, you know.
Or if people who, try to say that their septic isn't really hooked to it, we'll
We'll find out.
find out.
Yeah. Anybody have anything else as far as new business?
So,
Nick, what do you have?
I think we covered the things I was going to talk about.
Okay. Kathy?
oh, I did have a
Oh,
question.
go ahead.
Did we do anything when we had our person here last time? was complaining. Did he go down and look at that property and stuff?
I turned it
Brady?
over to Brady. I had a conversation tonight with him, or
Okay.
via texting, for him to make sure he has followed up with that. I did talk to him by phone the next morning after our meeting. He was aware that a deputy from Parke County had been there. So that's kind of where he was going to check with
I
them.
think it's been mowed or anything, because I looked.
It
the
has
other
not
day.
been mowed.
I was gonna
It's
say,
not
I
been
thought it
mowed.
was still, from
Which
what I
one we
could
talking
tell.
about?
Diane
Down at
Duggar.
Sisk's.
Sis.
Oh,
Place.
it's Lois's house, yeah.
Yeah,
It's not been mowed, I just went by it day
I was
before
gonna say, I
yesterday.
drove by there today, and
I
I
went and
thought,
looked at
I'm
it.
sure that's what she was talking
I'm
about.
glad you mentioned, I was gonna bring it up, forgot.
Yeah.
Well,
So
just
it's
I
on
mean,
the radar.
She made the attempt to come here and tell us, and
Sure.
I thought that was nice, and she was trying to be a nice neighbor, and
Sure.
it's like,
Yeah, don't you dare mow my yard for me.
yeah.
Hey, I went through the same shit, so I know what it's about, you know.
Yeah.
Unless somebody wanna mow my grass, I'll have at it, you know.
Okay, Kathy.
All right, for Nick, we, based off of that audit we had, we have got to get an ordinance written up that we do not charge the 2 churches, the community building, the firehouse, and the park for any water.
Can you
So-
email me that,
I will email you that.
what you want in it? Yeah.
I don't know, you tell me what I wanted. I just
No.
wanted to say that we're
Sounds
not
like-
charging.
Well, give me the list of who you want, but I'll
Okay.
probably say into other non-for-profits and things
Oh,
like
well,
that.
me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll put my name on it.
Then, they also brought up, which we need to decide, we need an ordinance for the renting of this building.
As far as
We
what
have-
we're gonna charge for
We
it.
have nothing in writing for that.
That's easy.
Now, the little ladies that exercise every day for the 4 out of the 5 days, they all each pay $1 a person when they come to exercise.
They do or they don't?
They do. So it's their own little thing.
Is that
So
every day, Kathy? I was gonna ask.
they do it 4 days. They don't do it, I think, on Friday.
We adopted rates for this building for a half day, full day back before you were ever with it. And so it should be in the records, the meeting minutes.
Okay.
Jan takes care of all that.
So do we need to up it though? I mean, are they the, have,
The ladies that come in here, the
no, I
same.
mean, I'm talking about the building rental. Because
We haven't upped it, we haven't changed it.
Because you talked about maybe upping it when we, after that meeting, that we might want to look at upping that.
We need to talk about it. I'm not sure whether or not it's a necessity that we do. Coffee drinkers and the exercise group said, we'll pay, because if we just pay $1 a time we come in. Well, yeah, that worked out fine.
Now, the
Because
little-
what it did, we hired somebody to clean this building, and their money pays enough to clean the building.
Right.
And so it was great. They're here an hour, or coffee drinkers, maybe an hour
They're
and
not
a half.
even, it's only 2 of them now.
So they're just wanting something that formalizes it that they can have in their records or whatever then.
The State Board of Accounts says we need something
Yeah.
to show that it's okay, because they even make their own deposit.
Oh,
They keep their own little records and everything of who all comes, and then at the end of the month, they go and they make their own little deposit at the bank for rent.
to the town.
To the town.
They deposit into the
Yeah.
town. Okay.
So, I mean, it's like 90, sometimes it's $92, sometimes
Oh,
it's $80.
so yeah, from a tracking
sometimes it's-
standpoint, I bet the State Board of Accounts did want to know where that came
Well,
from.
see, I put it as rent, which is, but
But-
it's not rent that we
Right.
say it's a half a day or,
Yeah, just email me that too, and that, I didn't bring anything right on, but if you email me it to me, I'll have it for next meeting then.
and
That's,
you think there's an ordinance.
No, there's no ordinance.
there's minutes as
What
The
Well,
minutes of
it's
a
just a-
meeting
just a
a
figure.
number of years ago that said, we're gonna charge $15 for a half a day and $25
So-
for
I still want
a
to
day.
He wanted an ordinance, so should we have an ordinance for that?
I can do that. I'd probably have to be a resolution, but yeah.
Okay, and,
And we can still forfeit accepting any money for nonprofits.
Yeah, we can opt them out.
yeah,
4-H.
because like 4-H would come in
Yeah.
there.
Correct.
The thing that we talked about was the possibility of needing to raise rent. We don't rent this building hardly at all anymore. I mean, the card playing people aren't here. There's a few birthday parties and things, but they just don't anymore.
So when State Board of Accounts come in, they just want a document that proves
Right,
that anything
right.
that's financial in nature is authorized. If there's not a document approving it, they say we want one.
Right.
That's
So
pretty
what is a
standard
full
for
day?
them.
Anything more than a half a day.
No, how much? I know that.
So more than a third of a day?
I think it's 15 and 25.
So yeah, if you just tell me what you want, I'll put it into a
Okay.
formalized thing. We can just adopt that. That'd make them feel a little warm. and
Yeah,
fuzzy.
that way I've got it in the file that I've done it and made them.
I'll check.
They did that when they
make
do that
sure
when they
that-
come to
Okay.
Rockville though too. They're like, well, where's the document that tells me this? And it's like,
Okay. Food for thought. For any strange reason, have you talked to Karen Steller? Last year, about this time, I'm going to say maybe, or maybe after, she asked, which you may be more familiar with this, if we had any plans for anything for 2025,
Right.
so that they can plan
Forever
to.
fund, yeah.
Right. So I don't know if in the back of your mind you want to be thinking about that.
Because she said something about the, I think is it January, she's made a
She has to
comment
do-
that
it has
she's
to be in
gotta
by
know
January
what.
1st or something.
She's gotta have an idea of what we're planning, so that way she knows,
that's probably a self-imposed deadline, but yeah.
And I wondered
because that way
about
she
that.
knows what to do with the money. If she just goes ahead and just doesn't take any out.
She doesn't want to
puts
give it to
But
somebody
I just want
else
to
or
put that
something.
in the back of your mind in case.
Well, Jan and I had a little conversation this evening. I said, we really don't have Christmas decorations any longer that are any good.
No. Mm-hmm.
Those reindeer, I reworked those so they're okay.
They're just not the same after.
The lights
they
that were
start-
in
they
that
start
tree,
starting.
The wind
I didn't bring
blows
REMC back to take it down, so they're not any good. You got the soldiers on the arch. That's the extent of it. So that would be something that the town could use, but that's going to take some planning and some
Thoughts.
thought.
Right.
Yeah.
And our flower things, I don't know if we need, those trees are getting top heavy in those things, so they're falling over.
What's falling over?
Because of the wind.
Yeah, the wind, I mean,
Oh, have
they're,
they been
yeah,
starting
that
to fall
one
over?
especially, they'd fallen over several
Yeah, that
times.
one on the south side, on the south
And the
end
one on
of
the east side has been over it there
Yeah, it's
several
on,
times
he's over there
too.
today.
I don't know, did you set them up?
Yeah.
I set
Someone's-
that one up.
I say someone set them up
I set one up today.
and now, of course, the wind's playing havoc. I guess Carrie said she's been going around picking up the pumpkins and putting them back in there for you.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I don't know what,
Well, the trees got root bound in those pots. And so this past spring, I went up there and I took a drywall saw and I cut those roots back so far from each tree base. And I took huge, looked like peat moss that I was carrying. I took out of there. And then I put new soil in there, special for those pots. So the trees, I mean, they're still got enough root base that they're growing, but you're
are
right,
they
they
gonna get
are.
much taller?
I don't have any idea about
They
those
don't
trees.
get real tall, they get like maybe 6, but I think once they're in a container, they don't get that tall in a container. But it's something you can take out and plant them somewhere else.
Yeah.
But, so like I said, I just thought in case she calls, that might be, I could tell her to call you or,
Well, I mean, it could be anything for the arch. How specific does she want?
I don't know, that's,
You've met Karen.
Yes. Yes, I did.
Hi, Karen.
You're on.
so,
Karen,
Oh,
okay.
no,
Karen and I love each other. It'll be
she,
fun.
I mean, she has an interest in it. She cares
She
about
has
it.
an
That's
interest, she
good.
wants it to look nice, she wants to be proud of her
Yeah.
little town.
Yeah.
And that may be what we ask for is things to decorate, beautify seasonally at the arch. That
Which
may
is
be.
what they had done in the
That's what we
past.
have done in the past, where
Yeah.
some of that stuff
Right.
has, but after a while, the weather and stuff starts taking a toll on them, I mean, the sun.
Yeah.
So, just this, we showed using 2,000 gallons of water here this last month. And there really wasn't anything going on in here.
Here,
Yeah,
but it's not,
that's really odd.
you only read it once a month.
Yeah.
I
So
don't
just threw that out there.
There's no outside hydrant, is there?
And like I said, which I didn't get out there and get it read, but our water is doing good, considering that we have people in town that won't take care of the water leaks.
They paying their bills.
Paying their bill.
Yeah.
That's what's amazing, I don't understand that.
You have 41,000 gallons of water, you just pay your bill.
God.
And we only average 20,000 a month.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
I had one it was double, triple, which I thought was really odd, so I questioned it. And there was another one I questioned that on Center Street that she was like 20-some thousand, 21,000, and I'm like, so we get them, we'll get even lower.
There's only once that went over 30,000. And
Couple
we've
of-
had- that was in 25th of October, 32,000. We've had it as low as 3,000 gallons, so it fluctuates
And then
depending
that's
on
like,
what's gonna.
I read it the next day after those, which I read those two
Yeah.
in one day. I mean, I just split it, but the next day was nothing. So it's
Okay.
just not pulled anything. It's just pulled before I read it, I guess.
Right.
So,
It is good.
but here's the adjustments I made for the month.
So what you're wanting is a ordinance or something that allows us to do what you're already doing.
But I'll still do that.
Yes, but
I
we-
reckon I need to keep track of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
They're just wanting it on file is what they're wanting.
Something that
Yes,
formalizes
that I,
the approval
that it is
for-
okay that I'm doing all this,
Right.
even though I've got it, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he liked that I was doing this, and I said I created this myself, instead of just saying I just do it, so you guys know I'm doing it.
They're big fans of documents.
Yeah, and he was a real nice guy.
You know, a lot of empty file drawers, they gotta,
Apparently,
Yeah. And we did get our lead and copper submitted, well, Wesley got it submitted. I got a thing from 120 Water saying that it was recognized, that it was done, so, on the submission, so that was good. They worked with me and we got a letter, and I got the letter printed off today. Kind of dry, I'm looking at those envelopes. And they all went in the bills.
okay.
So then I have to get a copy of that and another form sent back so they can send that in. So then we should be done for now. So hopefully that takes care of that. For a while anyway.
Right.
So, then I
And
had,
thank you for that. It's gotta be a heck of a headache.
it wasn't bad. I mean, I got online and did all the years and everything. The next steps are gonna get worse. And I just had to go in and fill everything all in, so. And then, like I said, worked on getting the letter, and they were, Kirk is who I worked with, and he was real nice. 811 came in, and they're changing their ticket things. So I have to go in and I've got to sign all this up. I've got to have a person that can, when I get a ticket, can go out and eye that and mark it if they have to mark it, and it has to be marked within 2 days.
But mark what, Kathy?
Our water lines, if they're
Oh.
there. This is something new.
The problem is you can't, I mean, there's no knowledge of it.
And
We know where the meters are on,
either I go in and say there's nothing there, or I have to go in and mark that we have been there and marked where the water is. I have to verbally respond, and then if I go in and say there's nothing there and they hit it, then we're responsible for it. But I have to, it's a new thing that they're making people do. And if it comes in before 7, it has to be back in within 2 days. If it comes in before noon or something like later in that day, then it's 2 days.
usually when I go out and meet with them on the permit, I'll use blue paint and spray their water meter, the pit. And I'll say, I would imagine your water line does this to the house. But I said, there's nobody that's gonna know that. It's
So-
impossible to know.
Now, I mean, I've got to put names in here that's going to be responsible for this.
Kathy Worth.
So I'm just telling you what I got to do. I
I don't,
You can put your name in there, it's all right.
So I don't know. Do I want to say have Jason? Do you want to go out and look at them as soon as I get them in 2 days?
No.
Do you want me to have Jason? I mean, I don't know what to do because that's what I said. I said we have to. He said you have to answer every ticket and verify. And I said, well, just like the other day, RMC went in behind Ashley Thomas's and replaced a pole. Well, it said B Street and North Main. Well, then down in the explanation, they gave so many feet this direction and so many feet that direction. He said, you've got to go follow that and see if there's anything that's going to be a...
right.
So,
They could ask for the whole new edition to be marked.
And
Here's my suggestion, seriously, is you put your name there, and then if I'm available, if Jason's available, or if Kenny's available,
have them go put eyes
we
on
would,
it.
we would do that. I'm
One
not
of the
expecting
three.
you to put your boots on, go out
I wasn't
and
going
do
to.
that,
But yeah, so that's why I'm wanting to see if that's okay to put those names
but
and,
we have no way of tracing the water lines. That's an impossibility. If there's a basement, we know where it comes in, so you can just visually, that's what we did down here at Tomes, trying to figure out where that meter possibly is.
and
But-
he's not been back, has he?
No, he hasn't been back on it. But besides that, UMAC has dug up enough of them, they have an idea. I think we've been around, you've been around long enough to know where a lot of those are, just because you've lived here forever. But beyond that, it's tough.
I know, that's why when he came in and met
And
with me.
specifically, mine's a good example. Even though I know where meters at, I know where it comes in the basement, you couldn't trace that water line because it's a polyvinyl line. You know, you
Yeah,
can't detect it.
no tracer wire was put in with it.
Nope. I was in Bloomingdale today looking at a job we're going to start over there, and Bloomingdale tells located in RMC, but the gas company or Bloomingdale Water has not made any.
And that's what I wonder what Bloomingdale's
Did
doing.
Bloomingdale
They're the
Water.
same- they're the same
I don't
way we are.
remember
I mean,
Mark.
and who they even, I don't know who does their meters.
That's my suggestion,
Just like that lead survey thing, you know, it's a.
and then we'll know exactly.
You don't have the
You
resources.
do it already for me when
Yeah.
somebody's going to
Yeah, it's
do
solar.
Right.
some kind of building.
But normally, I mean, we keep an eye out, open, but it's not having, we don't have to respond and we don't have to get back with them within 2 days.
Just better make sure you have some blue paint cans in there, so they, at least when Kenny and them come, you can say, here, go
Yeah.
Mark.
So, all right, so I've got till January 1st to do it, but I wanted to bring it
Okay,
out.
just, you won't be able to take any more cruises. Your name's on that list now.
I would say, is your vacation time over? Are you done for
So,
the year?
yeah, for the year I am. Here, I'm already got one scheduled for April,
Okay, what are we on?
Jesus, see?
without Todd. This
Well, it's
is,
better than that.
yeah, I know, Watertown.
We've already done this.
No, you did the claims.
Okay. And you only need initials on that.
Well, I won't be
Yes.
here the first, let's see, it'll be in February meeting, yeah.
Look at that, he's already talking.
Yeah, I'm waiting until at least
I won't be
April,
here in
end of
December.
April.
No.
Do what?
I said I won't be here.
Going west?
Huh?
You going west?
When?
We're going south.
Oh,
I'm going to the Caymans, first week of December,
You going where?
to the Caymans.
Oh, I've been
That's
to
what I thought you
Cayman.
said. God damn, I gotta get a job.
I liked it down there.
You're gonna leave the country now?
And you're going in first of when?
First week of December.
Oh, she won't be here for payday then.
I'll take her check for her.
It's
so you'll miss the board meeting.
Shoot, I'm going with her. I don't want her check. I want to go to Kings too.
Yeah, we had a guy that toured us. We pretty much toured the whole island. Zipped around and it was neat. Are you gonna stay there or you're just gonna, I mean, you staying there or you just hopping,
No, we're staying
Oh,
on,
you're
yeah, we're
s-
staying.
staying at the Caymans? Okay.
So ironic you mentioned, I looked at our passports the other day, they expired about 6 months ago.
Oh,
Well, they still, you
everything's online now, I
can
guess.
do it online right
Yeah.
now. And you got a window of opportunity before you really have to go back and do everything else. You know, I can renew them, I'm gonna do it to you.
Yeah, Jen just renewed, my niece just renewed hers and was talking about it.
And, but you know, I didn't think it'd been 10 years, you know, that's the thing, it goes by fast.
Yeah, I'm good till a few more years. Then one last thing, which I'll have to get done here, I'll get that back, which with Nick sitting here. We talked about having to transfer money from the rainy day fund to the
Right.
park fund. So right now, with the money that we've spent out of their funds, we need to transfer $4,841.47
Does that put us back where we started at then, even, is what you're saying?
with them, yes, for the
Okay.
money that they raised.
Yeah.
So, or we're gonna transfer it from, like I said, we talked about the rainy day fund. So, I'm just,
Is that better, Nick, to do it from a rainy day fund than the general fund and just do it?
I don't think it really matters. I mean,
and I have, where's my budget? Oh, My budget for
The
this
general fund
year,
is flush with money.
I don't see where it'd be an issue either way. I mean, in
I
all
think
honesty.
$5,000 is what I had budgeted for this year for the rainy day fund. And I haven't done anything with it yet.
I mean, you could use your general
Well, if you
fund.
got
I
that
don't-
budget, I'd just
I mean,
use
yeah.
it.
I have $9,000 in the rainy day fund. I don't know if I'll get my yearly donation or not. I don't know if that's a setup for a yearly thing or not.
I don't know. But as we said, we know that the general fund is good to use the general fund instead of the rainy day.
Okay. So. And do I need to, because they said that I need to put it in my minutes that I bring that up, but I don't need to really make a resolution or anything to transfer the money, do it?
As long as they're okay with your minutes, the only reason we do resolutions is to appease the State Board of Accounts, basically. So if they've told you they're okay with the minutes, then
Because he said that if I make, because I should be bringing it up instead. I said I do, but I just don't write it in here. He said
Yeah.
start writing
they,
it.
if they're okay with the minutes, I'd say, I mean, we can do resolutions if
Okay,
you want, but
good.
then you're going to be doing
Okay.
resolutions constantly on
Okay.
things. And
Okay.
I know, like the county council, they do resolutions all the time, but like most towns don't do it as
Okay.
often. I mean, if-
Okay, well, yeah, that works then, so, well, because I want to get that all, and I'll have the contract for the new contract for the fire department next month. And I'll get that up.
yeah, it looks like they passed that law in 2003 on the marking thing.
Huh, yeah, he had to come and meet with me right before the festival.
And they changed it in 2009, but I mean, I think if we put new water lines in, we probably ought to keep track of where those go, would be my suggestion. Or as we work on lines, you guys might kind of snap that if you can.
Yeah, a homeowner can install those lines up to the meter, but it doesn't mean they'll put a tracing wire on it.
Right.
They just need to lay a wire with it.
Yeah.
I don't know, has Ronnie been out here and laid that line? I couldn't.
Water heater?
The wind, maybe.
Which-
Adding Jones's?
I don't know anything about it.
Water heaters where it's just kicking like that sometimes.
No, I only know our conversation on it, but
They got back with me and said they wanted to do it, and I called him, and I saw the 811, but I don't know if it's, I'll have
That
to
I
check
don't
with him
know.
and see. I
yeah,
thought maybe he might.
I'd like to.
That was about the time that he was, because he was gonna talk to him about that pipe. And he was messing with the tome.
I'd like for him to get
Since.
here and do the tome one.
And I've been on Jason, and he and Jackie are supposed to get the meters all together to send in, and I said, we're gonna have to order meters, because we had 14 today that didn't want to read, but they're those 147 numbers.
Right.
So they were reading some meters today till it started raining, but I said, we need to get them done now, so when it gets cold. So,
Anything else? Anyone else?
I'm good.
We're adjourned.